Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, we're going to be talking about other skills you need to become a coder. Alright, welcome back. Before we start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the more content we can make. It might not mean a lot to you, but if this video got 1,000 likes, it would mean a lot to me. Also, this channel doesn't do a Patreon, instead we sell our digital products down below. The more money we get for the products that you buy below, the more content we can make. Alright, so is coding enough in 2020? Are there other skills that will propel you to become a better coder and have a better career, and more importantly, make more money? Well, believe it or not, it's not just about coding, even though that's a huge component. If you've ever taken a look at a biography of a famous sports athlete, then you'll know that there is more to being a good athlete other than just the sport itself. And this is very true with coding or any career. So there's a lot of other factors that will make you more successful other than the actual task itself. So what are some of the other skills that you need in order to become a good coder and have a good career? Well, a lot of the skills are extremely basic and they apply to practically any job. That is, showing up on time, making sure you hit the deadlines, and making sure that you are good to work with. These three things are incredibly common with people who are successful in their career. Again, if you don't show up on time, you don't get the deadlines done, and you're terrible to work with, why would anyone pay you to do anything? It doesn't matter how good of a coder you are. Most of the time, companies will not deal with it. The only way that you can get away with this is that if you're so incredibly good at coding that you are completely irreplaceable. And this is something that is probably not you, because the people who are like this are few and far between. So if you want to make a good impression, you want to show up on time, make sure you hit your deadlines, and be great to work with. Now, another thing I see again and again, and this goes for pretty much any coder at any company, is that the coders who have really good soft skills tend to do better. Now, what is soft skills? Well, basically it's interpersonal skills, and it kind of goes back to the last point of being good to work with. You have to have really good soft skills because coders tend to have terrible soft skills. And the reason for this is quite simple. You, as a coder, are in front of a computer screen all day. And because you're in front of a computer screen all day, you don't get to interface with humans that much. Furthermore, the work that you're doing on a computer screen is frustrating. So you're working really hard, but your code really isn't compiling right, or there's some other problem. It's incredibly frustrating. It's easy to take that frustration out when you work with other people. And because your job can be so frustrating, when you work with other people, you will project that frustration out, and it makes you not very good to work with. Just remember, you have to interact with people as if they're people and not like the microwave that isn't working or the code that isn't working as well. Coders that can master this will do very good in their career. Another area that's incredibly important is design. Believe it or not, you as a coder need to know at least the fundamentals of design, because in the past, design didn't matter as much. You can take a look at a website from 10, 20, or 25 years ago, and it doesn't look very good. Now, today, look at websites and they're very well designed. Now, you might think that you can just pass that along to a designer, but if you want to start your own company or be a startup, you have to design it yourself. It's much cheaper for you to do design than to hire somebody else. And this is something that you, as a programmer, if you're already good at programming, should take as a challenge. If you're not good at design, look at some design tutorials and maybe design a few things. It's actually kind of fun, even if you don't like it that much. Remember, it's a skill that you should at least have the basics down. You should be able to design a simple app in Photoshop or Adobe XD or Sketch, and you should at least be able to code that as well. Now, some of you listening to this might only be a back-end programmer, and that's completely okay. But if you ever want to launch your own business or startup, you really need to do design. And you really need to get good at design so that people are going to buy it. This is something that I wasn't good at and I had to learn. One of my stories is that when I was a freelancer, a European mall came to me and wanted me to make an app for them. And I said, okay, let's do it. And what they wanted was a 3D walkthrough of their mall in the app. Now, this was 2009, and that was completely impossible at the time. So after long talks, they decided to not build an app, and instead they wanted me to do some design work for them. And this was Photoshop. And I didn't really know how to use Photoshop. I only used Photoshop to basically make simple things to share with my friends, funny things. So they were actually going to pay me quite a bit of money to do this, and I didn't know how to do it. And as a freelancer, you should at least have the knowledge to do some of this work for other people, because you might lose some money just like I did. And I really could have used that contract, but I wasn't confident in my Photoshop skills, and I had to let go of the contract. The point is that if you know the basics of design, you will make more money. Think about it. If you have a good app but a terrible landing page, nobody is going to download your app. You have to at least know the basics of design to get your product out there. One of the last things you need to do as a coder is to network, and this can be really hard. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to work really hard on a computer screen and then eventually network. Now, one thing that you can do is if you have a good social sphere, then you can simply network through that. And sometimes the best jobs and the best opportunities comes from friends of friends or friends of friends of friends. So if you're just friendly, then chances are you will be more successful. This goes back to being personable, and I know how hard it can be when you're working all day and your code isn't working. At the end of the day, you're incredibly frustrated. So all you need to do is take a deep breath, and when you go and meet people, it's relaxing time. You can just go and talk to them, and you can have some fun. The whole point of meeting people is to have fun, and the more connections that you make, the more successful you will be. Really successful people say that you should make one connection per week that will absolutely change your life. It's very hard, especially if you're an introvert like me, where you have to really pull yourself away from the computer or your video games and do something else. Even if you are an introvert and like spending time by yourself, then you can think of extroversion as another skill. I used to be way more introverted than I am now, but nowadays I can go into a room, meet a bunch of people, and then make a bunch of new connections. And this is a skill that you should acquire too. Alright, so that concludes this video. Thanks for listening, and I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. If we got 1,000 subscribers, it might not mean a lot to you, but it would mean the world to me. Remember, this channel doesn't do a Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital products down below. Buy the products down below, and we can make a ton more content. If you really like this channel, you can subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. We produce over 20 to 60 hours of fresh new content per month. You can learn anything from web development to machine learning to Photoshop to Blender to game development. If we can get to 10,000 paid subscribers on Mammoth Interactive, we can change the world. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in another video.